After a few days of looking around Kuala Lumpur, we took a day tour south to Melaka. Historians have estimated that the founding of Malacca State occurred between 1376 and 1400. The city of Malacca was established in 1403. St Peter's Church was built in 1710, which makes it the oldest operational Catholic church in Malaysia. The church bell was salvaged from an earlier church burned by the Dutch during the 1641 occupation. Many of the past residents of Jonker Street were rich families, but today the street is popular with tourists that buy from the many shops that occupy the area. Control of this part of Malaysia dates back around 600 years, when the Portuguese first occupied the land. Their rule was to last for about 130 years. This part of Malacca is a tourist hotspot, and the local artists have been quick to recognise the demand for their paintings. Because of its strategic position, Malacca has attracted traders from all over the world for hundreds of years. Foot finding was a Chinese custom practiced on young girls and women for approximately 1,000 years. It dates back to the 10th century and only started to wane in the early 20th century. These two brothers are now using their skills for the tourist trade, and because the shoes are not being made in many other places, they are an expensive item in great demand by collectors. This 17th century mosque is one of the oldest in the country. It's a blend of Sumatran and Western architecture with a three-tier pyramid roof which also shows some Hindu influence. The city's old buildings have been influenced by Portuguese, Dutch and British. Another well-preserved temple. It was constructed in 1645 and is believed to be the oldest Chinese temple in the country of Malaysia. It was near the mouth of this river that the Hindu prince settled and established his kingdom at the beginning of the 15th century. Here is a guide giving instructions to some of our fellow passengers, making sure that they know where we should all meet at the end of our hour-long walk. The buildings were built in 1645 and is believed to be the oldest Dutch building in the east. It was once the official residence of the Dutch governors. While we were in Malaysia, we saw a few of these outrider escort convoys. I understand the occupants of the bus were most likely government officials or visiting VIPs. I have photographed more than my share of weddings in my time, but none of the brides and bridesmaids wore anything so striking as these gowns. Close by is the Christ Church, which is a Dutch Reformed church that was constructed in 1753. The original structure was a simple chapel built in 1521. In 1548, Sir Francis Xavier, with the help of fellow Jesuits, established a school on these premises. It was known as St Paul's College. This was perhaps the first school in the modern sense to be established on the Malay Peninsula. It was from here that he left for his missionary journeys to Japan and China. In 1552, while on a journey to China, he fell sick and died. This structure was built in 1511 by the Portuguese, but was badly damaged when the Dutch invaded in 1641. In 1808, a British official managed to save what was left of the ruins. The Straits of Malacca are a narrow 805-kilometre stretch of water between the Malay Peninsula and the Indonesian island of Sumatra. This part of the world is very different to where we live in Australia, and I recorded part of the trip back to the nation's capital. We were now nearing the end of our 2-hour journey back to Kuala Lumpur, and the weather turned from being very hot to very wet.